Welcome back, YouTubers, to the Evil Dead Book Club, where we're going over Book 1, Chapter 3 of this book. So this chapter in Chapter 3, Earl or Turner has to go and reclaim his cache of weapons with one of his partners. So two guys travel a couple hundred miles to dig up this cache of weapons that they have. And some things have changed in the area, like there's been a landslide and stuff, but they can get to their weapons, but they can't drive their car as close as they'd like. And it sounds like they've got, a substantial amount. There's, just short of 400 pounds worth of weapons and in ammunition. And as soon as I heard that number, I was like, man, these two guys are going to be working. And he had mentioned in the story that it wasn't a problem, dropping them down into the hole. Well, I'm sure it wasn't. Gravity works that way. But these two guys, they had forethought enough to weld handles onto this 55-gallon drum that they used as a cache, and they thought they were just going to tie ropes to it and pull it out of the hole that they dug. Well, I knew right away that wasn't going to work. For one, because pulling up 400 pounds, even with two guys up out of the ground, is going to be a chore. So they weren't able to pull it up. The thing was stuck in the ground. I think it probably was. Gravity was probably helping a lot more than just the dirt. But anyway, so they had to, dig a little bit more, pop the top off of it while it was in the hole about 5 foot down to the top of the drum. And they lowered Turner down there, and he's, handing stuff out one at a time. And it made me think, you really gotta, if you are gonna, do such a thing as cache something, you gotta take into consideration that things may change, like the environment. There was like a landslide or something in this case that had changed just access to it. Luckily, not the place where the cache was. So they had to, drop their vehicle and hike in, like a mile, and then they had 400 pounds worth of crap that they had to pull up out of the ground after they dug it up. And they started in the daytime. They didn't even take a flashlight because they didn't think it was going to take them that long. Of course, it goes into the evening because they had to make several trips, and they were exhausted. And so think about where you're caching things. Two, think about how you're going to recover it. How, if you can make it easier for yourself to recover your cache. And three, physical fitness is a motherfucker. So you've got to make sure that you're physically fit to do the task, or to bring the right tools for the job, or more people. Two guys may have been all they were willing to risk for this mission, but I think two guys may have not have been enough for the mission. So anyway, they get their weapons and ammunition up out of the ground, and then on the way back to their bug out location, or their safe house, they stop and get coffee and something to eat at a little cafe. And another thing comes up. There's something on the news about the organization getting in a gunfight in Chicago with law enforcement and the FBI. And so the organization, gets away or whatever, but they're watching all this unfold on the news, on TV at a local diner. And, one of the civilians in the place, vocalizes or like applauds the organization. And Turner thinks that he wants to try to recruit this guy, and his buddy wisely, stops him and is like, "Listen, we've got a car full of guns and ammunition. Our mission's to get this to where it goes. Now's not the time to, do some sort of side deal, which, would be smart. You don't want to get distracted while you're in the midst of a mission." So that was definitely something to consider and to think about. And the other thing is they change safe houses. They make the decision because of all the stuff that's going on within the organization as far as doing different terrorist acts. Things are getting hot for them. As far as the government's started a if you see something, say something program. So they are kind of a suspicious group. There's 5 people living in one apartment. It's a small apartment, and none of them have jobs. So rather than deal with that, they find another place to rent on the sly, from an older Armenian guy that's willing to look the other way. He doesn't really care as long as he gets his money every month. So he's not gonna report them to the government or anything like that. He almost naturally assumes they're manufacturing drugs or something in the place that they're getting, which is in an industrial area. So it shouldn't cause as much suspicion to be focused on them, which I think was smart. Because if you are in a certain situation, or even now without anything going on, you should be constantly improving your situation or your base of operations. So if you started prepping, you need to continue to prep. If you start in the military, you always wanted to keep improving your fighting position. Add more sandbags, dig a grenade sump. Just keep improving the area around you to make your situation better if shit does get real. And this is kind of a start to that. They realized that their first safe house or bug out location wasn't that good of one. They had kind of did it hastily and hadn't thought everything through, because they obviously didn't know how bad it was going to be once the government started cracking down on people in their organization or on guns and stuff like that. So they did the right thing by trying to improve that situation. So those are some things that I took away from this chapter that a regular prepper could learn from this book. The book's honestly not that great. The writing isn't awesome or anything, but you do get some ideas for things, and it just it's just different perspectives. You've got to realize that it's fiction, so you need to take that into consideration. And you chew the meat, spit out the bone. So you take what's good from it, or good ideas from it, and what's bad, and you learn from it. So I think if anybody's thinking about caches, this would give you some insight into what could happen, or good or bad, and how to do it. So those are some things to think about. And the pre-positioning of a bug out location in a city, or as like a safe house or a rental, I still think is something I hadn't considered. You always naturally consider, if we're bugging out, we're going out to the woods. This gives you another spin on it, where you could actually bug out in town. It just depends on the type of situation you're in. So those are the things that I've gleaned from this. I don't know. Excuse me. You tell me what you thought. I'm burping up chili. I'd made some really spicy chili. Put some jalapenos in there that I thought weren't that hot. They're pretty hot now. um, so let me know your thoughts. I'm gonna try to do a live stream. Um, I don't know if I'll do it tonight or not. If I do, there will be a notification. So hit your bells, and so you can get notified. And I'll check you YouTubers out later.